Mi familia, this is Erik Butron. Welcome back to your favorite channel, Mexico Real Estate Insider. Today, we're gonna talk about the roadmap to buy real estate here in Mexico. Okay, my friends, let me tell you something. If you wanna buy a piece of real estate and you don't know anything about the Mexican market, go and check out this video. We tell you about the 3 things you have to be aware when you buy real estate in Mexico, okay? But let's start with this. The roadmap to buy real estate in Mexico. The first thing you have to be aware of is the kind of seller you're buying from. Let me tell you something. It's very likewise Mexico than the US. For example, in the US, you have the pre-construction or pre-construction seller. These guys are guys that are selling you on paper. They don't have, maybe they haven't even broke land, but they will have a project in maybe 12 or 24 months, whatever, and they are selling you a pre-construction before the construction is done. In Mexico, we have the same, but we call them pre-sales or preventas here in Mexico. Okay. So if you buy a pre-construction here in Mexico, you are likely buy from a company. Maybe the equivalent of an LLC on the United States is going to be a company here in Mexico, SADCB or any social type. But be aware that if you buy from a company, you're maybe buying from a pre-construction point of view, okay? Then we can go to the pre-owned market also. Here in Mexico, we have a big offers on the pre-owned market. And pre-owned market, I mean, the vast majority of the pre-owned market is owned by people like you and me. So now you can have 2 types of sellers. The company that is very likely to sell you a pre-construction property, or the pre-owned company that it's most likely be sold by a person like you and me. So the first thing you have to know is the type of seller you're buying from. Is it a company or is it a person? Okay, number 2, you got the place. You love that house, you love that apartment, you love that whatever, and you want to buy it.
Love this house. Do you love?
Then it's the next step. The next step is the offer. Okay, here in Mexico, you present the offer, and we have a market practice to present the check with maybe 10 or 15,000 pesos just to take out from the market the property, okay? Just to take the property out of the market and be sure that that property is not gonna sell to somebody else in the time, in between time that you get that property offered and you close that deal, okay? So the offer, it's a very normal market practice that you present the check with the offer for the seller to take the property out of the market. Okay, so don't be afraid of giving a check. Don't be afraid to put your feet on the water. That's perfectly normal. Number 3, my friends, the contract. Here it's a little tricky. Let me explain why. You have the first contract and you have the second contract. The first contract, it's only to secure the time in between you have your deal closed on the last contract. And the last contract is what we call an escritura pública. It's the same in the US. You can have a deal, you can have an offer, the offer is accepted, and then you start to make the paperwork to go to the title company and close. So the second contract is the same as you guys have the title company, but here in Mexico we call that escritura pública. And that escritura pública is made by a notary public, notario público. Totally different figure than in the US. Don't think that notary publics in the US are the same that notarios públicos in Mexico, not the same. But then again, you make the offer get accepted, you sign a first contract. Okay, in this first contract, it's a normal market practice for you to pay maybe 10, 15, 20% of the property, okay? So let me just give an example. If you're buying $1 million deal, my friends, it's perfectly normal to give up front $150,000 for the first contract. And then we go to the next step. You sign your contract. Okay, it's very important to have a professional guy guiding you through this contract. Very important for you to hire a professional lawyer or hire a professional person in the real estate industry that takes care of you. But then you sign your first contract. And then time starts ticking and you walk through the second contract. And the second contract is under the practice of a notario público. Maybe you can take 30 or 40 days before you sign your second contract. And the second contract is the closing time, okay? You present yourself, you pay the price, the seller signs the contract, and now the property is completely yours, okay? Expect, it's different, but expect from 5 till 7% closing costs on the total investment you're making, and expect also from 30 to 60 days to close a property. Then you sign the deal, and then you have to wait for the notario público to give that contract to the registro público, the public registry of real estate here in Mexico. And that public registry is very important. And guys, open your eyes, open your ears. You don't buy any piece of real estate in Mexico if you don't buy it through an escritura pública. It's the only valid property title in Mexico, the only. Why? Because that title is inscripted in that registry, and that registry says, okay, this is owned by rich Uncle Merrick, and this is his property. Okay, so be very aware not to sign, not to buy any different from that. And now, my friends, you know how to do a deal in Mexico. But then again, it sounds easy, but as you guys say in the States, it's easier said than done. If you want to do it the right way, you have to hire the right people. You have to be very aware that in Mexico, the standards are not so high as in the US. So paradise has its prices to pay. See you in the next video, my friends. My name is Erik, and this is Mexico Real Estate Insider.